What's going on, everybody? It's your boy here. We're going live with Brett Siples. Wait for him to get on in
Hey,
here.
buddy.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, man. I figured it out.
So what's going on, man? How's your day?
It's not too bad. It's been pretty low key. I've just been going through records, story of my life.
Nice, nice. Get anything good lately?
Um, yeah, I've got I've got a lot of stuff, but I've got some really good like 80s hard rock and heavy metal stuff that you just don't see a lot of. Like some
Nice.
stuff I've never even heard of. Um,
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that's pretty cool. I've got a guy down in Jasonville who he just messages me like every week or every other week, and he's like, "Oh, I got more vinyl, man." So I just drop down there and get it from him, and he makes some money, I make money, and it's good. So
There we go.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What made you want to start doing like selling records and stuff?
Well, so I've been buying vinyl for a long time. I mean, ever since we were probably in, middle school, I think. Um, Actually, I got my first record I ever bought was Van Halen Women and Children First for $2 at Revolutions behind the mall. Did you ever go to that place?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they just had, they had no organization to anything. They just had a bunch of records in there, and I was flipping through a bunch of crap, and then I came across that and then got it. Um, and then I went to that big white antique store on 40,
Mm-hmm.
stuff and things, and started buying, I got like almost a full set of the original Kiss records there. Um, and so anyway, long story short, um, when I was getting ready to move to Louisville, um, I was going on, all these trips to these different places to figure out where we were going to end up going. And I would, I would just go to record stores, and spend all of my money building up my collection. And then it got to the point where I was constantly upgrading, Kiss records. So I was, turning around and selling, Kiss records, and I know those better than anything else. Obviously, I'm sure that's not a shock to anybody, but so I was like flipping Kiss records and making good money, and then
Nice.
the whole uh, COVID thing happened, and I finally just decided like I'm gonna quit my normal job and just start selling records. And I'd been doing it online for a long time, and I've always wanted a store, but it had to be kind of the right thing. Like I didn't want to rent a place, because it's just money you're wasting.
Mm-hmm.
um but I found this place. There were a couple other places. I was going to try and open a store in Brazil, and the building ended up like it needed an entire exterior wall and all kinds of stuff. It was just going to be crazy money to fix. So I didn't end up doing that. And then I was going to buy another, like an antique store that was pre-established in Terre Haute, and it fell through. Like the people wanted way too much money for it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I found this place on Crawford, and it's coming along, man. They're getting a lot of work done finally. So
I seen on Facebook you just laid the hardwood or something like that.
yeah, I just got pictures of it. I don't know, about an hour ago. It's all done being laid. So in a few days, the guy that's going to be finishing it is coming back into town because he's been on vacation. So he's got to sand and finish it. And then, we got to put trim up and finish the bathroom. And then I got to start moving stuff in there and getting everything going. So it's slowly but surely coming along.
Nice. Do you have a timetable for when you're going to be open?
Man, I don't. Originally I was hoping July, and we're almost done with July. So then I was like, well, maybe August, but I would now I'm hoping for September. So
Okay.
there's still a lot of stuff like, I gotta build record bins, and I gotta set up the store, and I gotta get internet, and I gotta price everything, and there's just a lot of stuff. So I think once I'm able to get all the stuff in the store, all that stuff will go pretty quick because I'm kind of obsessive when it comes to that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure I'll be spending a lot of late nights at the store getting all that stuff ready. But
That's the fun part, though.
yeah, man. I mean, dude, I love organizing stuff and going through stuff. So it'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, man. I mean, and then once it's open, then it'll be all gravy.
Right. It's going to be awesome.
Hell yeah.
It's gonna be nice to have a place like that around the area.
Yeah, I think so. There are two other record stores technically. There's Heads and then there's the local vinyl in North Terre Haute. But I think I'm going to be a lot different than those two places. Headstones is more of a head shop. The local vinyl is more of a smaller, eclectic, hipster,
Mm-hmm.
better term type of place. So, I mean, I'm going to have everything. I'm going to do vinyl, old or used and new. I'm going to do cassettes and 8 tracks. A small thing of CDs. I'm going to be pretty picky with those because I don't think people are really buying them like they used to.
No.
But I'm also going to try and have stereo equipment in there. And I finally just found a guy in Brazil that can fix stereos that are broken, which is great.
There you go.
Yeah. And, it'll just be a cool place to, chill and, talk about music or whatever. So
I might have to get his info from you because my parents had one of those big 80s style dual that had the record player on top and a cassette.
oh
And
yeah.
yeah, I had one of those, and I've been wanting to get it working, so I'm gonna have to get his number off you and hit him up.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, I'll just tell you, it's the guy that has the CB radio shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I took him. He doesn't mess with tubes or anything. So if it's like real old school, like from the '60s, he doesn't want to mess with it. But if it's if it's just like an '80s, solid state thing, like I took him an early '70s Pioneer receiver, and he like resoldered the whole board for me and fixed it, and it's great. So
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, I mean, stuff like that's it's a dying art. Everybody just throws stuff away and replaces it.
Yeah, we had it in a spare bedroom that was never used, just kind of full of junk. And I went back there one day and started cleaning up that room, and then I seen the stereo back there, and I started going through the records. And my parents back in the day had some pretty nice records. Like they had a bunch of REO Speedwagon and uh, Sticks, and they had a couple Michael Jackson records and
Nice.
stuff like that. Like it was actually pretty decent. And then like they had a couple country albums, a couple Hank Williams and Waylon Jennings and stuff like that. So I was actually impressed. I was like, dang, my
Yeah.
my, my old folks Had a decent taste in music.
Yeah, man, I have to give all the credit to my parents for most of my musical taste. Uh, my mom's favorite band is Journey.
Mm.
My dad's favorite band is Kiss, of course, and you know, we listened to a lot of that stuff. Oh, I mean, really in the 90s we listened to a lot of country.
Yeah.
And and Kiss, of course, um but yeah, and then I just kind of jumped on the whole 80s thing, and the early to mid 80s is really where my heart kind of lives. Like, I'm a huge Survivor fan.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they're much more than just Eye of the Tiger.
Let's see. Hold on. What was that one? I think it's a Survivor song that I really liked. Give me one second. It's a good thing having Spotify up on your phone there.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Burning Heart. I freaking love that song.
Oh yeah, from Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Vital Signs is um, the album that I really love. I mean, I love all of their records, but Vital Signs from '84 is the first one with Jimmy Jamison, who sings "Burning Heart." Because like the guy that sang "Eye of the Tiger" left because he had like vocal polyps or something, and then they got Jimmy Jamison, and he was just absolutely amazing. There's like the main song off of that record is "I Can't Hold Back," and that's in Paul Blart Mall Cop, I believe. So
Oh, I know what song you're talking about.
yeah, I'm sure you've heard it, but
Yep.
yeah, like, man, they're so good. I've got like, I kind of collect their records like I do Kiss records. I got a bunch of different ones, like all the stuff from Japan and
Hmm,
just crazy stuff.
that's awesome. Man, I tell you though, if it wasn't for you, I never would have known about Kiss. I honestly had never heard of them until we started going to school together. And then one day, I'll never forget it. One day, we were talking. I think it was in seventh grade, and I was talking about ZZ Top, and then you started going in on about Kiss, and I was like, "What is Kiss?" And then you just went into like this whole tirade about like how great they were and everything.
I
And then
have no doubt.
the following weekend, my parents and I went to the mall. I hit up FYE and bought my very first Kiss album, Love Gun,
Oh,
and
perfect.
that was it. Like I became a fan after that.
Well, that's great, dude. I'm happy to have helped. I'm sure a lot of people in our class wouldn't have known about Kiss if it wasn't for me. I mean, I still get, I'll have people we go to school with like text me, or tag me and stuff on Facebook, and they're like, "Oh, I saw, this Kiss shirt," or "We're going to the Kiss concert," or whatever. Like, it's funny because I used to get a lot of shit for
Oh
being a
yeah.
Kiss fan, like made fun of, all that stuff, and now all those people, they want to be going to the shows and all that stuff because
Mm-hmm. Trust me, I get made fun of all the time because I'm a Nickelback fan. So
hey, I was going to tell you that I love Nickelback.
yes,
Like, I don't understand the hate for them. Like, it's just, I think it became,
popular to hate them.
yeah, it became like the cool thing to do to hate on Nickelback. But like, man, they write great songs. I've seen them live once, and they're fucking great.
I'm going next month to see them live for the first time.
Nice. Yeah,
I'm so excited.
that's at Noblesville, right? At Deer Creek.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I saw them. So I saw them at the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, and it was my darkest days, um, who they sing the Porn Star Dancing. You know that song?
Yeah.
And now that lead singer is the lead singer of 3 Days Grace. Yeah, so it was My Darkest Days, Seether,
Ooh,
Bush, and Nickelback. It was great.
that's a great lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Bush is really good too in
They
concert,
are.
and I love Seether. I'm actually like kind of friends with their drummer. He's a big Kiss vinyl guy, so we
Oh,
have that
that's
in
awesome.
common.
I love Seether. I got almost all their CDs, and they're constant on my workout list. Like, I'm a huge Seether fan.
Awesome. Yeah, they're great, man. I've got all stuff on vinyl except for one record, and I think it's just because they haven't put it out on vinyl yet for some reason. So it's weird.
Man, I tell you, like, uh, I've tried to keep up with your music and stuff like that. So, other than like Kiss, who's been like your biggest influence in music?
Oh man, it's tough. I mean, obviously, Kiss is huge. Like they've got three drummers. They're all different. And I feel like I pull from all of those styles. But my number two band is Metallica.
Yeah.
Um, and people can hate on Lars all they want, but dude, he's the right guy for that band. And like he comes up with stuff that no one, like no drummer that I know would really think about doing. Like I'll sit there and listen to some of his drum beats and I'm like, God, I would have never thought to do that, but it works and it sounds good. So um but yeah, so my top three bands are Kiss, Rush, and Metallica. It's actually Kiss, Metallica, and Rush in that order. But um and Neil Peart is just on another level as far as drummers go.
And if you want to talk about underrated bands of all time, Rush is definitely up there.
Yeah, I don't think they get nearly enough credit. I mean, there are crazy Rush fans out there, but I think that Neil Peart gets a lot of credit, but I think the band as a whole just kind of gets glossed over. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, they're just the band with the really good drummer, you know. But yeah, I mean, those three bands, have probably had the most influence on me just because I listen to them, the most.
Okay. Very, very eclectic and great taste right there.
Yeah, and I feel like with those bands, I mean, they're all rock bands, but they're all like Kiss is a rock and roll band, Metallica is a heavy metal band, and then Rush is like a progressive rock band. So
Hmm.
kind of gives you, all the different spectrums as far as rock music goes.
Definitely. Um, so I am jealous of you for two reasons. One, you got to meet the greatest baseball player of all time, Pete
uh,
Rose.
I did.
And two, you got to meet the greatest wrestler of all time, Chris Jericho.
Yeah, I did. And so the Chris Jericho thing, I, he was on Kiss Cruise 5 when I was on there. And, usually at the end of the Kiss Cruise, everybody goes to this one bar on the boat because it's open, the latest. So
Hmm.
like everybody was just hanging out. There was a lot of, quote unquote famous people there. And he was there and I got a picture with him and it was cool. I didn't really get to talk to him, but I was actually um, I just went to see Quarantine, um, his 80s Kiss hair metal tribute band. Do you know
Hmm.
about that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, so he has a Kiss tribute band. They only do 80s Kiss stuff. He like dresses up like Paul Stanley from 85 and
That's
that's
awesome.
looks ridiculous and it's so cool. But so it's him. Um, oh, geez, this is bad. Joe McGinnis is a friend of mine. He's a guitar player, singer, songwriter, country guy from Nashville. Um, Charlie, I can't pronounce his last name. I think he's from Peru, but guitar player. And then Kent Slucher, who is Luke Bryan's drummer, who I'm also friends with. So I was literally just at one of their shows it was around Dayton, Ohio. Um, but I didn't get to talk to Chris. He was like, um, just kind of out and about doing his own thing and staying away from everybody for the most part. So, but yeah, and then the Pete Rose thing, man. I so I went to the Reds games, that weekend. Of course, they lost those games because apparently they can't seem to beat the Brewers. Um, but so walking out of the hotel, and he's just like sitting there in the hotel, and so I like take my bags out to the car. I'm like, oh, I have to go talk to him, and then I'm like, oh, I really don't want to be that guy. Like, I don't want to bother him and all this stuff. But then I'm like, no, screw it. It's Pete Rose. Like, if he's a dick, then he's a dick, and whatever. But I went in there, man, and he was so cool. Like, he was making jokes and like was really interested in what I had going on, and like he kept the conversation going quite a bit. Like, I'm sure we could have sat there and talked, all day. I mean, it was seriously one of the greatest moments, that I've ever had.
That's awesome. I've heard he's a really cool dude. Like when you go to meet him and stuff. So I've always wanted to meet Pete Rose.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that was my thing. It's like, when am I ever going to get this opportunity again?
Right?
And I wasn't paying for it. He was just there,
Mm-hmm.
which made it even better, I think. But yeah, he was so cool. And dude, no one knows the game like him, and no one played the game like him.
Mm-mm.
Um, just ridiculous. And it's, I mentioned something to him because we were talking about the Reds Hall of Fame, and he's like, it's the best one out of all the other team ones, but Cooperstown is the best. And I was like, yeah, and you should be in there. And he just he's like, whatever. I'm more famous for not being in there. So, I don't think he cares, but he definitely deserves to be in there more so than most people, I think.
Oh yeah. Did you see his crack about making the WWE Hall of Fame?
No, I didn't.
He said he got inducted and he's like, well, at least I'll make one Hall of Fame in my life.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. When did that happen?
Oh man.
Like, when was he inducted? Do you know?
I want to say it was like 10 years ago or
Oh,
something like
okay.
that.
Yeah, because like, so after Bud Selig finally left, he got inducted into the Reds Hall of Fame in
Mm-hmm.
2016, but still not Cooperstown, which is ridiculous. Like, I was watching the game last night, and there's DraftKings and Bet MGM and like all this stuff about betting, and then Pete Rose bets on his team to win and can't be in the Hall of Fame. Like, give me a break.
How many players in the NFL now just got busted for betting? Hell, Calvin Ridley just served a year suspension.
Oh,
Like,
really? Yeah, it's nuts, dude. I mean, just
and
a
the
slap on the wrist, and
and my,
then
and my thing is the fact that what really irritates me with it is the fact you've got guys like Barry Bonds and all that actually get on the ballot and are eligible, yet Pete Rose did nothing to alter his gameplay, unlike
right,
guys
yeah,
like him. And he doesn't even get a mention, not even on the ballot. Like, to me, it's just bullshit.
it is bullshit. Absolutely. I don't know who he pissed off, to be made such an example out of. But
Yeah. Yeah, all these steroid freaks are like constantly being put on the ballot and they're like, "Well, it's not that big of a deal." Bullshit. Barry Bonds literally went and broke a record
right,
because of it. Like he went from being a small lanky guy, then to one off season looked like he ate nothing but pork chops all year and gained like 50 pounds of muscle. And you're gonna tell me he ain't juicing? No, come
right,
on
yeah.
now.
I mean, it's pretty obvious.
It's I don't know. I don't think if he ever does go in, if he ever does, it won't be until he's dead.
I was just about to say that. I mean, I'm sure he will go in after he dies, and I that I think will piss me off even more.
Mm-hmm.
Because like he deserves to get up there and say something. But yeah, I'm sure that once he's gone, they'll be like, "Ah, he really deserved to be in," and
Oh yeah.
you know,
Like my grandma did not like baseball at all, but used to watch just to watch him play because she loved watching him play.
yeah, dude, and I have no doubts because I mean, like I said, no one played the game like that guy.
That dude, like, and I've gotten into a lot of discussions and arguments with people when they talk about the goat of baseball, and I always mention Pete Rose, and the it baffles me that people just want to look at home runs as like being the greatest of all time. When you look at the greatest of all time in any sport, you always want to look at what they did on the field, where they stand in the record book, what percentage did they accomplish as far as like attributes for their position or whatever they're doing. So the fact that people can look at Pete Rose and see where he's in the top 10 and top 5 in almost every major category except for home runs and be like, "Oh,
Right.
nope, he's not. Nowhere close."
Yeah, if he's not the greatest, he's got to be in the conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, think of, he has the most hits. So like, think of, it's like 4,256 or something, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Um, but like, think of all of the runs that dude scored.
Mhm.
Because he got on base. It's just I don't know. Home runs are not anybody can run into a ball. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but not everybody's getting over 4,000 hits.
And all the stolen bases and the defensive plays that he made and it's just I don't know. It baffles me cuz
Yeah.
like I don't know. He's the epitome of what the game is in my opinion.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, he played it right, and he did the right things, for the game, and for his team. He was playing for his team.
Mhm.
It's like you could have all kinds of home runs and still be on a losing team.
Yeah.
I mean, but how many teams have went back to back? World Series.
Right? Not many.
Yeah, and I don't know the number, but it's
I
not.
don't know. It's not very many, I know that.
Yeah,
And even then like it's like the Reds back then they didn't buy their their wins like the Yankees do.
right. Yeah, if my dad listens to this, I can't talk about the bad about the Yankees, but
Oh, I apologize.
no, it's fine, man. He gets shit all the time. Yeah, he's a Yankees fan and he was a Patriots fan, and then he was a Buccaneers fan, for a couple years. So,
So is it safe to say he's a Tom Brady fan?
oh yeah, Tom Brady is his dude.
Tom Brady's the GOAT.
He is, man, and you know what? I hate to I hate to say that because I love my Brett Favre, but um,
Oh, that's right.
yeah. See, I think the last time I saw you, you were giving me shit about a Brett Favre lanyard or something.
I think I was, yeah.
And if we were gonna do this in person, I was gonna wear my Brett Favre Vikings jersey.
Oh, you still got that.
Oh, dude, I've got a purple one, a white one, a black one.
Man, I tell you, before he went to the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, of course, everybody was like, well, he's going to go to the Jets and then next year he's going to play the Vikings. I was like, the hell he is.
Yeah, dude. I, I mean, the Vikings are very they're good about getting old quarterbacks. So
We're the best.
yeah, I mean, fuck, you guys even got Donovan McNabb at one point. So
Oh, sweet Lord. Please let me forget that.
dude, that was bad.
That was the worst run I've ever seen. Like,
Yeah, I
ugh.
I
And
know you're not a reader, but there's a great Brett Favre book, and it's all about his time with the Jets. It's called No Substitute for Sundays,
okay.
and it's interesting because they talk about how, like, you know he pretty much called all the shots with all of that, whole deal. He's like, I'm not wearing a suit. I'm wearing camo shorts. I'm not going to training camp, you know, um, and whatever. And he was having a good year, and then he got hurt, and then he just kept playing through it, and that's why that year just took a dive. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting stuff.
I I don't know, man. Like me and Brett Favre kind of don't agree with each other.
Well, dude, I get it. You're a Vikings fan, like, you know, it
I
makes
feel like I don't know. Like it's one of those things where that whole year I wanted to like him because like the whole time and for a long time as a Vikings fan, I'm like, man, if I had someone like him, like it'd be different.
sure. Yeah.
And then I got him, and I'm like, ugh.
Dude, he was one bad throw away from the Super Bowl.
No, he was one screw job away from the Super Bowl.
Well, the Saints
Browning
really,
Gate.
yeah, that was I still, like, mention that, and I can still see those pictures of his legs that he posted after the
Oh,
games. Like,
is
they were as purple as his jersey.
yeah.
Just insane.
Had we won that game, we would have been playing so many backups in that Super Bowl.
Oh, I'm
It,
sure, man.
it wouldn't have been funny. Percy Harvin wouldn't have been able to play. Sidney Rice had hip issues. Brett Favre couldn't walk on his right ankle, so we'd had to
Right.
play Tavares Jackson. No disrespect to him, but like that's like apples and oranges.
Oh,
Uh, and like defensive players, we had a couple guys that were beat up. Like I don't know, the NFL definitely rigged it for the Saints to win, and I'm sure Peyton Manning would agree with that because wasn't oh yeah, that's how his neck got hurt playing them. Same
oh,
way
was
with
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
he had no neck issues until playing the Saints. They ended Kurt Warner's career.
Yeah,
Like I
dude.
don't understand how Greg Williams was able to stay in the NFL after doing all that dirty shit that year.
Yeah, see, and that's another thing, like, that stuff is allowed to go on, and Pete Rose gets, banned from baseball. So
Right?
it's
All right,
crazy.
so I have a question. So your dad's a Yankees fan. Why did you pick the Reds?
So it's funny, man. I don't really know. Um, so I don't think that my dad really became a Yankees fan until the probably the late '90s, early 2000s.
Okay. So the
Probably when they were doing really well.
Jeter years.
Yeah, he's a huge Derek Jeter guy.
Okay.
So but my dad as a kid, like we had family in Cincinnati, and he would go watch the Big Red Machine. Um,
Nice.
he and they got, I don't know if it was like a free gift at the ballpark or something, but I've got an old Johnny Bench like kid's bat, that was his. So I had that when I was a kid. And I just, I remember like just always saying as I was a kid that, the Reds were my team. But I never really followed sports up until, oh, well, I didn't follow baseball up until like 2009. Um, when I got into college, I had a history teacher who was a big baseball guy, and he kind of asked like who in the class consider themselves a Reds fan. So I raised my hand, and he like gave me some cards or something. And I went home that night, and the Reds were playing the Cubs, and the Reds ended up winning. And there was this chick in my class that I was like trying to hit on, and she was a Cubs fan. So when I wore my Reds hat the next day, she was pissed, and there was no chance of me, getting with her at all. So, um,
What
but yeah,
what
man, I just, I've just always said that they were my team, and then I just started like
nice.
really following in '09. So,
What school did you go to?
oh, for college,
Yeah.
I went to Ivy Tech.
Was your teacher John Benton?
Man, that sounds familiar. It might have been.
Because I had him as well, and he was a big White Sox fan, and me and him would talk all the time. Like he was telling me about all the stuff he had from the old stadium before they tore it down, and
Oh, that's
uh,
cool.
he had like stadium seats and bricks and stuff, all kinds of shit.
Nice. Yeah, man, now that you say that, that does sound really familiar. I bet it was him.
Because
Uh,
when you said you went to college and your teacher's a big baseball fan, I'm like, oh, yep, same here.
yeah, nice.
Uh, no, that's cool. Because I never remembered you rocking red stuff or talking about it or anything like that in high school. So I was
No,
just
yeah, dude, music has always been my like biggest thing. I started playing drums when I was 13, but even before that it was just Kiss, for the most part all the time. And it was music and cars and girls like all through high school. And and then you get out into the world, and you realize there's a few other things, not many, but a few other things than those things. So,
right.
but yeah, man. And then I was a huge Bulls fan in the '90s,
Oh God.
as almost everybody was.
Yep.
um and then when Jordan retired, I just kind of got out of it. um I tried to get back into basketball when the Bulls were really hot again, when Derrick Rose was there, and they had the
Mm,
the what do they call them, the bench mob.
yep.
um and I was like, oh man, this is great, this is like the second coming. And then Derrick Rose got hurt, they got out of the playoffs, and then they had Jimmy Butler, and I'm like, okay, cool, like they're gonna do it again. And then they just traded everybody off, and I was like, well, okay. And I've tried to watch it, and it seems like a different game to me now.
It is.
You know,
I Yeah, like in high school and stuff, I was big into basketball. You remember I was wearing jerseys all the time.
yeah,
Like I was huge into it, and now I can't stand to watch it. It's so horrible now, to where it seems like everybody just wants to shoot threes. It's just like a big 3-point contest every single game. The like
right,
the ankle breakers and the dunkers are gone. The center position is basically dead. Like it's like I don't know. I can't stand the NBA anymore, and college basketball is turning into the same thing. Like they just want to go down and shoot threes.
Yeah, it's just not. It's just not very fun, and it seems like everybody's bigger now too. And the court just feels smaller. It's
Yeah.
just, I could watch the old '90s Bulls playoff games, all day, every day.
Oh yeah.
You know, and just basketball in the late '80s, through the '90s in general. It really wouldn't matter the team,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's not the same. And then kind of the same with football, man. After Favre retired, I really tried, and you know, the Vikings got Donovan McNabb and then Christian Ponder, and we were just going nowhere. And then, like, Favre went back to the Packers and retired officially, and you know, all that stuff. I'm like, okay, I'll try this. I just haven't been into it. The whole like kneeling thing and everything being so political with almost everything. It seems like baseball has done a decent job of staying away from that for the most part. So
Yeah. I I'm with you there on the football thing. Like it, I don't know. There for a while, I was still into it, but it wasn't like I have to watch it every Sunday like I used to.
right,
Um, but that kind of once politics got into it and all that stuff, it just kind of got ruined for me a little bit as well.
yeah,
Um,
we
it,
go to that stuff to forget about that shit. You know what I
it
mean?
exactly,
Like,
and
I
like
just,
nowadays, it seems more like wrestling. It seems a lot predetermined.
oh yeah, for sure.
Like last season when the Damar Hamlin dude got hurt or had his freak accident or whatever, and it's just kind of funny that the game that had playoff implications on the line that would have taken Kansas City out of first place was just wiped under the rug like it never happened.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, just kind of, and then the dude's magically fine. Like, come on now.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I mean, listening to your podcast, it's kind of made me want to start watching um again. So maybe I'll try it this year.
Go for it, man. You have to come by and catch a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Preferably not a Vikings game because I usually don't show a good side when they're playing. Eh,
Uh, I hear you, man. I these uh these Reds games against the Brewers have been brutal at my home here
you,
lately.
I'm not even gonna talk about baseball because I don't have a leg to stand on this year.
Well, so how did you become a White Sox guy? I mean, I know you've pretty much always been one, I think. But
So it was, oh man, I was like 4, 5, I think, when I started liking the White Sox. For some reason, as a kid, I was into baseball like real big. Like that was my go-to. As a kid, I lived, breathed, slept wrestling and baseball. Like that was my life.
yeah,
And I was playing t-ball, and uh, my grandparents, who I used to see all the time, were big Cubs fans, and my grandma was like probably the biggest Cubs fan you'll ever find in your life. And I was over there one day, and I'll never forget. I was enamored just by the whole atmosphere of it, and like they had the black helmet and the black hat with the white pinstripes, and I love the Sox emblem. And the White Sox ended up beating the Cubs, and it pissed my grandma off something fierce. And I was like, "That's my team."
yeah. It's fun
And
how that stuff works, man.
right, and the one thing that pulled me in to the White Sox was Frank Thomas.
Oh yeah, of course.
Frank Thomas was my guy. Like when I was growing up, see, I'll never forget it. In high school, we had Hat Day, and it was not long after the Sox had just won the World Series. And Mr. Gamble, he's like, "Are you a real Sox fan?" He's like, "Or are you just wearing it because they just won the World Series?" And Jamie Bays, he was like, "No." He goes, "This guy's a legit fan." He's like, "I remember a Frank Thomas shirt he used to wear all the time in elementary school."
Awesome.
So like that was the big thing that pulled me in, was like it made my grandma mad, and Frank Thomas. And that's the same way I picked uh, Michigan State basketball as my favorite college basketball team, because my grandpa was a big IU guy, and Michigan State beat him, and it pissed him off. So I'm like, there we go. That's who I'm
Oh
going
wow.
with.
Yeah. Man, I don't get into college stuff at all. I never have. I don't know why. I feel like I can watch college basketball if I'm like out somewhere, but I have no, like, I just do not care about college football at all because,
Oh,
and I think the reason is that I just don't understand the whole bowl thing. Like, I think if it was just like a normal championship thing like the NFL, I would understand it better. But
mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's my excuse for not liking it, I guess.
There's a shit ton of bowls out there. There's way too many. I feel like any company that comes out now has their own bowl game.
Yeah, and that's my thing. It's like, okay, like what the hell does it mean that they win the Orange Bowl and not the watermelon bowl, whatever? Like, I don't fucking know.
I, I agree. I'm with you there. That's why I am glad that they're going for a playoff type thing. So like I think that's good.
Oh, they are
That's
doing that?
yeah, they've got their own playoffs. Like the games that they play are still like a bowl game technically, but it's all about the seeding of a playoff. So like you're I think it's like 4 right now. They're talking about expanding it to 8.
Huh.
So like you'll
Well,
be the
maybe
top.
that'll be better.
Oh yeah, and people like you is why they're wanting to do that, because they feel like a lot of people don't understand the bowl games, which honestly none of us do. I
Well, that's
anyone
kind of how I figured, you know.
anyone that says they do, they're lying. Um, but like I feel like they're trying to get away from that and just kind of make it one big thing. And honestly, bowls all boil down to money. Each bowl game is about how much money you get from uh, their investors or whatever to bring into your school. That's all it is.
Well, imagine that. I mean, that's pretty much everything in the world, I think, is just, it all boils down to money.
Mm-hmm. And I think they're wanting to take the money factor out of it and bring more prestige to where winning a college football championship means something.
Right, yeah, and it should mean something. So, yeah, hopefully they can do that. That'd be good.
Yeah. As long as you stay away from Ohio State, you'll be good.
Yeah, the Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
We
I
we
don't
we can
I
remain
don't
friends.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't I really don't have a dog in the race. So, um I think that I don't know. I would probably root for IU in basketball, but I don't think they're very good in football, like, ever, right?
No, they're not.
Yeah, so I would want somebody that had a shot, I think.
They're definitely a basketball school.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I used to love college basketball more than the NBA. Like I used to be all about college ball, but not anymore. It's gotten worse in the NBA, and there you can't really like players that much anymore because it's one and done. So many people like, they play 1 year in college, boom, they go to the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bummer, man. I mean, I get it, it's a big payoff, and you can always go back to college, but you
I
know,
yeah, that gets annoying,
yeah,
but
I'm sure. And my thing, like, man, I didn't like even with baseball, like I went into this season not knowing hardly anybody on the Reds team because I really didn't watch anything last year. um, because they're under Bally Sports now, and it's like extremely tough to be able to watch a game unless you have cable.
yeah,
Um, but like if I don't know the players and I'm not invested in any of the players, then it's just kind of whatever for me. Like unless it's an important game, like a playoff game or something like that, like I can't just sit and watch just a random game with people I don't know. Like I don't know. It's weird for me. So I have to kind of be invested in the players and know what's going on. So
definitely. Um, I'm the same way with the White Sox this year. Like I I had no normally I go into it and I'm like, I can name you, the starting rotation. I can name you who's playing each base, who's in the outfield, all that stuff. But going into like this year, like we had so many injuries. I had so much shit going on personally that like sports just kind of faded off a bit.
right.
And I, 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 at this point in the season, I can honestly tell you, I despise where my franchise is right now. 100%. I hate it.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with them having a losing record or being, fourth in the division. I just I think I seen a thing earlier on Facebook. It showed the three longest tenured GMs in baseball, and each of them have won one or multiple World Series. There's only three, and one was for the Nationals. The other was for I want to say the Dodgers, and they've won so much. We've won jack shit
Right. Yeah. I mean,
under Rick Hahn. He is a horrible general manager. Jerry Reinsdorf is a horrible owner. He needs to sell both his teams. He needs to sell the Bulls and the White Sox.
yeah, for sure. The Bulls.
Like he's like the whole city. There's billboards up around Chicago begging him to sell the team.
Oh, dude, I don't doubt it. And man, I was in the same spot. Like after the Reds did their run, like they were in the playoffs in 2010, 12, and 13, I think. Um, and then they started getting rid of people, and um, they got rid of Dusty Baker, and then they got Brian Price as a manager, and that was just fuck, dude. We were rebuilding for like 5 years, and then we got
Mm-hmm.
another manager, and then it was the same thing. It's just like losing season after losing season, and like the Castellini, who owns the Reds, like everybody was wanting him to sell the team, and his sons are the ones that I think really screw a lot of shit up. Um, but yeah, dude, I was right there with you. Like, and I, past couple of years, I really haven't cared. I'm like, I can't sit down for 3 hours and watch them lose. You know,
That's where I'm at, and like it drives me nuts because we have Tim Anderson, who is supposed to be one of the best shortstop in baseball. He hasn't hit a home run in over a year.
holy cow, dude, how is that even possible?
A calendar year it's been since he's hit a home run.
And he's an everyday player.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, how the fuck does that happen?
I wanna fire sale the team because if we take the team right now fire sell it, rebuild, we'll still be exactly where we're at right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, what have you got to lose? You know.
Exactly. Like I I feel like when they traded Abreu and just let him go, I feel like that he took the heart and soul with him.
Yeah. Um, I, I think, dude, that's you know. I was Jim Day, the guy who does a lot of Reds interview stuff. He has a podcast, and I was listening to. I started listening to all the ones from this year, so I could get caught up with the team and like learn about all the new guys, and because like over half of our team, I think, are rookies. But uh, they were talking about like when Luis Castillo got traded and all these other guys, like everybody was just kind of heartbroken, and they played like shit because of it. So that stuff can definitely happen, man.
Yeah, like and he's even suffered for it. He's playing terrible out in Texas.
Right.
He's definitely not doing good for the Rangers at all. But like,
Yeah.
I feel we just need to let get what we can get for the players. Like we could get half a team right now for Luis Robert, like the way that dude's playing. Like he's in the top in baseball with home runs. Like that'd be easy.
Right.
And people still love Tim Anderson. Like get him gone. Like we got I don't know. Like we got players that we can trade, but the fact is like we were just like we were uh one game away from making the American League Championship like a few years ago, and I think they're still trying to hold on to that. Like we still got that, but that's not the same team anymore.
Yeah, man. And a lot can change in a couple of years.
Yeah, we've had a couple bad managers and our trashy GM and terrible owner.
Yeah, it takes its toll, man. I mean, the Reds, like I said, I can't remember how long Brian Price was there after Dusty Baker got canned, but which I don't see how you can a guy like Dusty Baker, but it happens. But yeah,
Stupidity.
yeah, for sure, and probably money too. So
Yeah, but he ended up getting his. So
oh yeah, for sure, yeah, and good on him.
right, he's a great manager.
He is, man, and I think he just fell short a couple of times, but you can't always blame all of that on the manager. Like you can blame some of it on him, but in a playoff game, like that's really on the players for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Especially in baseball, like he's not out there pitching or committing errors or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. Now, he leaves a pitcher in too long or something or brings in, the wrong guy, but it's all subjective, man. Baseball's a weird sport. Like
It
any
really is.
anything can happen. And I think that's why I love it so much. It
And honestly, like anyone can beat anybody. Like I feel like that's more fluent in baseball than any of your big sports.
oh yeah, man. I mean, dude, the Cubs just who did they beat the other day? Like 17-3 or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I mean, look at when they won their series. Like hell, they were down 3-0
Oh, I know.
and won.
I
Like
mean,
it's insane.
it is insane. I still can't believe they beat the Indians.
I was happy to see it. Like
I fucking hate the Cubs. So I was, I was pretty upset. But I mean, it's great for their franchise. It's terrible for the overconfident Cubs fans.
oh yeah, the ones that now think they're the Yankees.
Yeah, it was like you guys were assholes before, and now that you've won a series, you really think that you're the best. But
Oh, so you'll enjoy this. Back in 2016, I went. That's the year they won the series. I
yeah,
went to Wrigley Field for a Cubs game, and it
Nice.
was against the Reds,
Oh, cool, man.
and the Reds won.
Hell yeah, they did. It was probably one of the only games they won in 2016.
It was, oh, dude, that day was so hot, and I kept looking around, and I'm like, I'm in hipster hell over
Oh
here.
yeah, dude, fucking Chicago. Like, yeah. I went to a Cubs Reds game once, but I did a rooftop thing, so I don't count that I haven't technically been to Wrigley. You know, the rooftop thing was cool. It was like all you could eat, all you could drink.
Oh, hell
You know,
yeah.
got a perfect view of the game. I can't remember. I think the Reds won. It was when Chapman was still pitching for us, so that was great. Um, but yeah, I want to go there. So I've been to obviously Great American. I've been to Busch Stadium. Um, I went to. I've been to what is it? Whatever the Giants Stadium is,
Mm.
out in San Francisco.
Candlestick.
Yeah, that's what it used to be. I think it's Petco Park now or
Oh,
something like
yeah.
that.
It always be Candlestick to me.
Yeah, for sure. I just saw the other night. Well, last night, I guess. I didn't realize that Miller Park was now like American Family Arena or
What?
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it was weird. But so, yeah, I've been to the Giants, I've been to the Rockies, and I went to a Cubs and Diamondbacks game in Arizona.
Nice.
Yeah, it was interesting because I'd never been to a game like in a dome and then the
What was
dome
that?
closed. It was weird. Like it was like, I don't know. It was just strange. It was like watching baseball in an arena. Um, and then it was like a 16 inning game. And then the Cubs ended up winning. So I was like, man, I've wasted all this time. But but yeah, it was it's cool, but I would love to start going, to other parks, and I'd love to hit them all up.
Right. That'd be so. I've only been to Wrigley and, uh, what is it? Guaranteed Rate Field, which is the White Sox Stadium. I hate that name.
Wasn't it Progressive Field for a long time? Was
Uh,
that or was that is that Cleveland?
that's Cleveland.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Well, we were Kaminsky, and then we changed to
That's right.
shit. I forget what it was called. And then we a couple years ago went to Guaranteed Rate.
Yeah, dude, it's always so like bizarre, like, these random like lame names. I'm glad that Great American has stayed Great American. Like that's a great name for a ballpark, regardless of whether it's an insurance company or not. But um,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
dude, you
definitely.
you need to go to Great American. Like, there's not a bad seat there. Everything's really nice. Like,
I want to. I want to
yeah,
hit.
man.
I want to hit up so many ballparks.
I would love to go to Fenway.
Oh,
Um, just for the history, and I actually like the Red Sox as far as American League stuff goes. Which I don't really watch a lot of it, but I guess it's all the same now since we all have a DH.
how do you feel about that?
Well, so for one, I hate change. So in the beginning, I was very against it. I was like, pitchers need to hit. Like, that's real baseball. Like, if you're playing, then you need to hit. But it makes sense. I think it does probably help the strategy for the managers better. Because like if you have a DH that's, a good hitter, like you don't have to pull a pitcher, when you don't want to. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're in a weird spot and you're like, well, so and so isn't going to hit most likely, so I'm going to pull him and then put this guy in, and then that guy doesn't get a hit, and then you have to like burn your bullpen. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I It's been fine. Like, I haven't watching this year. I haven't been upset about it. So I mean, there's pitchers out there that can hit. So it kind of sucks for them, you know.
Yeah.
But
Unless you're Otani.
yeah, no kidding. That dude is ridiculous, man.
Dude's a freak.
Yeah, I get tired of. I think every time I open Instagram, MLB is saying that Otani did something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
They're
like every.
turning him into the LeBron James of the MLB.
Yeah, yeah. That's a pretty good, comparison because I don't like hearing about LeBron James either.
No.
But I do like. So I think the pitch clock is a good thing.
I love the pitch clock.
Yeah, it just it does speed up the game. I don't care. Like I was just at a Reds game. Oh, well, that weekend with the Pete Rose thing, and this guy sitting next to me with his son. He was kind of bitching about the pitch clock. But dude, I went to the game last Thursday, and it was 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Damn.
Now, Andrew Abbott had a one hitter through 8, so that was part of it. Even still, like the games are at least probably 30 minutes less.
Yeah.
So that's good. I love that the shift is gone. Fucking hated the shift. Like, that just, to me, it just wasn't baseball. You're like trying to play like your football team or something, just, setting up in different spots, and it just didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, the pitch clock is great. Like you don't have pitchers just standing there walking around and like throwing over to first base, 10 times before they pitch to somebody. And
yeah, a lot of them knew exactly how to like prolong everything.
yeah,
And the mind game of like I'm just gonna wear this guy out, just let him stand there.
yeah. And same thing for hitters too. Like you can only step out of the box, so many times, or you can't call time, you know, 15 times in an at bat. Like it's like, nope, get your ass in the box. Like you're getting ready to hit, buddy.
Yeah, you're here to play, not lollygag, not look pretty.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the new rules are fine. And I was kind of worried about the bigger bases thing, but like watching it, I can't even tell. So it doesn't really matter to me,
No, I'm a fan of. I feel like unlike the NBA and NFL, I feel like they're doing things the right way and bringing baseball in the right direction.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I get it. A lot of people that aren't into baseball, are going to say like, "Oh, the games are long, they're slow, they can be boring unless, somebody's hitting a bunch."
Mm-hmm.
So,
I know a lot of people that are like that.
yeah, but man, I always tell people like if you pick a team and you start getting like you get to know the players and then you like really get into pitching and you understand like the art of pitching and like it's a fascinating game.
It
I
really
mean,
is.
and like you said, anybody can beat anybody on any given day. It doesn't matter how good you are. Like, could be the best pitcher going up against the worst pitcher, and the best guy could have a terrible day, and the worst guy could have an awesome day.
Yeah.
Happens all the time, dude. Fucking Homer Bailey had 2 no hitters, so like every dog has its day.
Right. I don't know, man. Like I love what they're doing, and I love like I preached for years that baseball needed to get rid of the DH or get rid of people pitchers pitching. Sorry, I had a brain fart right there.
Oh yeah,
Uh
pitchers hitting.
yeah, like
Yeah,
I felt like the DH needed to be universal for a long time because like I put myself in the shoes of a general manager. Like I don't want to pay one of these pitchers all these millions of dollars to pitch and have them go out there and hit and take the chance of tearing something or getting hit or something like that. Like I don't want my pitcher out there taking that risk for no
Right. Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely makes a lot of sense. And I was like, even though um, I think the Reds were pretty fortunate to have pitchers that could hit. Like Bronson Arroyo could hit, Mike Leake could hit, Micah Owings could hit. Those guys. But like, it needed to be one way or the other. Like, why is it that if you go to an AL team, you can have a DH, and then if they can't have one? Like, it just didn't make a lot of sense for interleague play at
Yeah.
all. But no, I totally get it, and I'm sure that the pitchers union has been saying that same thing for a long time. They take one bad hit on an elbow, and they could be out the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so no, I think it's a good thing, man. I'm I'm cool with it.
Yeah. I think it makes the games go by a lot better because now you got a guy in a position that can hit, unlike most pitchers who can't.
Right? Yeah. And you don't have to deal with the like. I don't think I've even seen an intentional walk this year. Not that they haven't happened. I mean, I know that they have, but like, I feel like there used to be all kinds of intentional walks, and it doesn't really happen that often right now, or at least
Right.
not for on my side of it.
Well, especially like back then, whenever, like, say you got two outs and you got a guy up and their next guy's a pitcher, they just walk this guy and pitch to the pitcher who's going to strike out or
Right.
hit a ground ball or whatever. Like they're not really going to do anything. Like the eight guy is always a bigger threat than the pitcher.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that's what I mean by like the whole strategy thing for a manager. It's got to be easier,
Oh yeah.
you know.
So you still I know you were a big WCW guy. You still watch wrestling at all or anything?
Yeah, so dude, kind of the same thing. When WCW fell, I just got out of wrestling. And I tried to get back in it when Sting went to WWE.
Mm.
And then Seth freaking Rollins or whatever fucked him up bad. And I was like, fuck you, WWE. You're screwing over my dude. Like, and I was just done with it. And then, when was it? I think 2018, I went to SmackDown in Indy. A friend of mine had got tickets or whatever. And so I went, and man, it was just like a big commercial the whole time. I was just so disappointed. There was like barely wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out that Sting was with AEW, and
There you go.
I started watching that. And man, there's been some bad, but like to me, it's more wrestling than like just a giant commercial. Um, it doesn't seem as planned out, even though it obviously is. And there's some stuff where I'm like, okay, but I don't know. AEW is just more fun to me. And I've been to, a few of the, the events like Dynamite and Rampage and stuff.
Hmm.
And so much fun. I mean, just, it's an absolute blast. I was actually just looking at tickets because they're coming in September to Indy again. But tickets were like selling super fast. So I'm not sure if I'm going to go, but yeah, man, I really like.
I love AEW.
Yeah,
Big fan.
yep, it's been great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like, so when I started watching AEW, Kenny Omega was the champ.
Okay.
And I was like, oh man, I hate this guy. He's like, he's just such an asshole. And like, I hated the Young Bucks and all that. And now I like, I love Kenny Omega and I love the Young Bucks. And, but dude, fuck CM Punk.
Ah.
I'm sorry, Dwayne, but fuck CM Punk. I never watched any CM Punk stuff. I didn't know who he was. The only thing I knew about CM Punk was that Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger. Uh,
R.I.P.
oh, dude, I was heartbroken over that. We
I
can
think,
talk about that later.
yeah,
Um, the only reason I knew CM Punk is because JDF tried to fight him. He like put out an open challenge when CM Punk was doing his MMA stuff, and JDF was like, "Yeah, dude, you want to be a fighter? Like, I'll fight you." And CM Punk wouldn't do it because he knew that he would have got his ass handed to him. But yeah, man. So I didn't know like anything about him as a wrestler, but like when he came to AEW, there was a lot of hype, and I was like, "Oh, this is exciting." Like I went to the event like I don't know, like the next day after he debuted or something. And he was there and it was just electric, man. Like, got free ice cream and it was just a lot of fun. And then, that whole thing with him just sitting next to Tony Khan and just talking all kinds of shit straight to his face. And then all that stuff with the elite. I'm just like, man, this guy really is, a cancer.
Yep.
Like, and now he's got his own damn show. Like, it's just crazy to me, man.
I have never understood the hype of CM Punk. Ever.
Well, yeah, and I don't understand it now because I mean, he's not that good. Like,
No, he's not, and he's a jackass, and
yeah,
he's an asshole to his fans, and people just I don't understand why they let him slide for.
I don't either. And I know that Tony's got a lot of money on the line with him. And do you listen to 83 Weeks?
Yeah, with Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I love Eric Bischoff.
I do too.
But and he was talking about it, and he was like, I'm sure that Punk has got stuff in his contract, and Tony was going to be facing a lawsuit if he didn't get him on TV eventually, or pay him out. So now he's kind of got to eat it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I how are you feeling with this Jungle Boy FTW championship now?
Oh, dude, I tell you, I love me some Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
I loved Jungle Express. I've even got a shirt.
So do I. Yeah.
Nice. And then they let that one guy go.
Marco Stunt.
Yeah. But and
Did you know Luchasaurus was on Big Brother?
no, I did not.
Yep.
I'll have to ask my aunt about that because she loves that show.
Okay, ask her if she remembers the guy that called himself Judas.
Okay, I will.
That's what he said his alter ego was.
Interesting.
I recognized him from his tattoos.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, that looks freaking familiar. So then I went and Googled him, and sure enough, it was that dude from Big Brother. I was like, holy shit.
That's
Like
crazy.
he's in AEW. That's awesome.
Yeah, I loved Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. I thought it was great. Like from the beginning, I really liked it. And I also love his intro music by Baltimora. It's such a ridiculous song and I love it.
Right? It's awesome.
And then, I thought the whole thing with Christian Cage and Luchasaurus, like, going heel, I thought that was a good thing. I was disappointed that, Jungle Express was over, but you got to keep the story going. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about him being a heel. It's hard for me to buy that, he's an asshole, but
his dad was able to play it very well. So I'm kind of hoping like father like son.
right. Yeah. He's definitely gotten better on the mic since I've been watching. So,
Yeah.
and
I,
I'm, dude, I think it was you that said that you liked him. I can't stand Taz.
what's wrong with Taz?
I no offense to any of my New York friends, but damn, it is so annoying to listen to that dude talk. Like, it's so bad. And like, he is just not a good heel announcer to me. But
No.
no one's ever going to beat Bobby Heenan for me.
Oh no, he was. Oh my god.
The best, dude.
Oh.
Just so good. But I don't understand the hype with Hook either.
Okay, so I don't either. Like I don't. So many people are like, "Oh my god, Hook is so good," and like I watch his stuff and I don't get it. Like I look for it, but I can't find it. Like
I'm with you. And it's like he just came in and everybody was like, oh my God. But it's like, dude, wrestling has, for me, it's got to be somewhat believable.
mm-hmm.
And like, you're telling me that Hook is going to beat Brian Cage? Like, that dude is a fucking bodybuilder. Like,
Yeah, Brian
he can
Cage is
throw
freaking
Hook
huge.
across the arena. Like, it's just,
Mm-hmm.
it's stuff like that. It's just like, okay, but it's fun, man. I really enjoy it.
So, other than Sting, obviously, who's your go to on AEW?
Oh man, I'm trying to think here. I do like Darby a lot, but obviously, I'm sure a lot of that is influenced by Sting.
Darby's crazy as shit. That dude does some
Dude, he
insane
is.
stuff.
And I mean, have you seen the shit that Sting has been doing at his age? Like the whole crowd is just like, "Oh my god!"
Like
Like,
when he jumped off the ladder onto that table.
"Oh yeah," and busted his mouth.
I,
Like,
I, I
holy
was like, "You're 61 years old. What the hell are you doing?"
I know. And then, like it's nuts. But I love seeing it. I think that AEW is doing a really good job with Sting, as far as like giving him what he is, I feel like he's owed for being, the icon that he is,
Yeah.
unlike WWE. Um man, who do you like in AEW? Let's do that cuz I'm sitting here trying to think and I don't know.
Well, first off, the goat, Chris Jericho.
Well, of course. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
anytime Chris is out there, it's great.
Um, I'm an MJF guy.
Oh yeah, dude, I love MJF. Like at first I was like, man, this guy's an asshole. And then I'm like, dude, this guy is the best on the mic. Like I don't
Oh
even
yeah.
care about his wrestling. Like he's hilarious and he's just so good. And I actually didn't like Adam Cole at all before when he first came, but now that they're doing this MJF Adam Cole thing, I love it, dude. I think it's hilarious. The whole double clothesline thing. It just
I, I'm a big Adam Cole guy.
well, see, and I never watched TNA or Impact or Ring of Honor, so I have nothing to base anything off of with those guys.
Um, do you have Peacock?
Yeah, I do.
All right, so go on. You want to go on Peacock? Go to the WWE section and find some of Adam Cole's NXT stuff. Dude
Okay.
is he has some amazing matches on there. Like his matches with, let's see, I think it's Samoa Joe. Uh, who else was on there? There's a couple guys that he had some freaking killer stuff with. Uh, it was cool because like they wanted to call him up to the main roster, but he didn't want to go.
Oh, interesting.
He because I don't think I think if they got him to come up, they'd have tried to get him to sign another contract, and I think his whole goal was to go be with his girl in AEW, which he ended
Well,
up being with.
yeah, I can't blame him. I mean, I would want to be with Britt Baker as much as possible too.
Yeah.
or Penelope Ford.
Or Tony Storm.
Yeah, man, I don't like the whole Tony Storm. Oh, what are they called now? Tony Storm and the girl
Oh,
from Lafayette.
yeah, Ruby
And
Soho
yeah,
on
man,
stage. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
yeah, I liked Tony when she first got there. I do like Hikaru Shida like a lot. I think she's great.
Who?
Hikaru Shida.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, he's cutting out there. But yeah, no, I like her too. Yeah, she's really talented.
Yeah, yeah, she is for sure. I'm trying to think who, but yeah, MJF is, man, he's just so good.
Oh yeah, I love his promo that he cut on Tony right before he dipped out for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, it
His
was,
quote unquote pipe bomb.
yeah, um, yeah, it was really good. Whether that was, totally staged or not, like he makes everything. He made all of that stuff very believable.
Yeah,
So
I'm also a big fan of the Acclaimed.
I wasn't at first, and now I really am. Their whole scissoring thing is just hilarious to me. Um, but yeah, they're a great tag team. Yeah, I like them. I think Orange Cassidy is very fun. Um, he's he's been on a lot though. Like there for a couple of months, it was like every opening match was Orange Cassidy. I'm just like,
Yeah,
okay, you know.
he hasn't even had that belt long, and he's defended it like 26 times.
Oh, dude, it's insane. It's like, and he's just like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. But
I
um,
I am not, and this has gotten me a lot of flack and a lot of heat, but I am not a fan of the Elite.
dude, I get it, and I wasn't, at first, um, and I, dude, that did you watch? I can't remember which pay per view it was, but it was the first pay per view that I have ever bought in my life for wrestling. Because my parents, dude, they weren't buying me WCW pay per views when I was a kid.
Same.
Like they were like, we don't have that money, and if we did, we wouldn't spend it on that.
Exactly. Yep, that's what I
Um,
heard.
but the one that I think it was the Elite and the Lucha Brothers in the cage,
Mm, yes.
dude, that was one of the most amazing matches I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, that match was so crazy.
Yeah, and it was like Tony Khan like really hit it good for me because like now I try to, unless it's like a Ring of Honor pay per view or something, but or like I don't care about New Japan like because I don't know any of those wrestlers. So,
Right.
but anything else, I'm usually buying it. And
Nice.
yeah, so yeah, if you ever need a place to watch, you can come over.
Hell yeah, I'll be hitting you up on that.
Yeah, that's cool, with me, man. But yeah, it's I get it. They you know it
I,
is.
I'm a big fan of them as people, as human beings, but wrestlers, I don't know, I'm just not really. For some reason, I can't get over Kenny Omega's inability to cut a good promo.
Yeah, which is interesting. For that guy, you would think that he would be able to do that, and he really can't. Um, so
Have you seen his matches with Chris Jericho?
no, I haven't.
You need to look those up.
Yeah, I'll have to.
That first one is what really set off going in for AEW. Like their match in Japan, oh my god. One of the greatest matches I've ever seen in my life. So good.
I'll have to watch it. Yeah, I love Chris Jericho. Oh, PJ Farley, I forgot him earlier. He is the bass player in Quarantine. He is
Okay.
from he's from Trickster and Fozzy. So
I love Fozzy.
yeah, man, they're cool. I remember when they first started, and I was like, oh, Chris Jericho, the wrestler, he's got a band. That's weird, like Fozzy, like the Muppet guy, like. But yeah, I mean they're cool. They were on. Maybe it was Kiss Cruise 5, so like the first Kiss Cruise that I went on, and they were great, you know.
They've I I don't know. I was kind of hesitant at first when I heard about them, and I was like, I don't know. And then I listened to them, and I'm like, oh yes, definitely, definitely a fan of their sound.
Yep, I dig it. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Uh, so back in the day, you were a WCW guy. What? Why WCW over WWE?
I I've been trying to figure that out here recently. A couple of years ago, actually, I think when I was still living in Louisville, I bought WWE Network and like I started watching all the old Nitros.
Mm-hmm.
And I started doing it again like last year or the year before. I started at like the very first Nitro, and then I've been watching like in succession, like, all the Nitros, all the pay-per-views, and all of the Thunders, like in order. And I take breaks from it or whatever, and I'm getting really close to Wolfpack NWO, so I'm like really excited.
Oh,
Um, but I really think what it was, because like my dad didn't watch wrestling. He wasn't. I think that he was probably a Hulk Hogan fan, in the '80s.
mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't ever remember watching wrestling. I think what happened was I was in Walmart by the VHS section and saw this guy with face paint on that was very similar to Kiss. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then, I think I just got into it because of Sting. And, he was a WCW guy. So
Okay.
I think that's why. And, I had my cousins were WWF people, and I tried to get into it. I thought Kane was a really cool character. I remember having a Kane action figure. But like I'd never really watched WWF like ever. And I really need to go back and watch like the Attitude Era stuff because I really haven't. But
Okay.
yeah, I really
It's
think it
interesting.
all stems from Sting. I bought this VHS of like his story and
Mm-hmm.
all that, and I think when I really came into wrestling, because I remember buying a bunch of Wolfpack Sting stuff. I had a shirt, action figure, like cups, and keychains and all this crap. And but I think when I started watching wrestling, he was kind of on a break. I think I think maybe he was like drying out or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came back as Black and White Sting. He had Seek and Destroy as his intro music, and um, I think that's really when I got into it. So it was like late '90s.
Okay. That was back when it was starting to get really good.
Yeah, or really bad, depending on who you ask.
True.
Which I was like all in, with the Jeff Jarrett, NWO, rap is crap stuff with Kurt Hennig and all that all that ridiculous stuff. Um, but yeah, I just love Sting.
So, did you ever go to the WCW events they had in Terre Haute?
I went to Thunder in like 2000 or 2001, whenever it was, 2000, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I remember, we were going to Thunder at Holman Center, and I made this poster. I got a poster board and I put this poster of Sting on it. And I wrote something on there and took it with me. And we were getting ready to go in. And I was like, Sting isn't going to be here, And then, of course, he was fucking there.
Yep.
So that like totally made it for me. And then, Kiss had their own wrestler.
The Demon.
The Demon. I've met that dude. Well, I think we're friends on Facebook, actually.
Dale Torborg.
Yeah. Wasn't who did he play for?
White Sox.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought he was a White Sox guy.
He was our hitting coach when we won the series in 05.
Oh wow, that's awesome, man. Yeah, he was cool. I met him when I was like, oh dude, we were probably in like 6th grade, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, I've got this picture. I'll have to find this picture of me with him. Like I look so small, which is weird because I don't think I've ever looked small. But yeah, he was in full like Demon outfit and makeup too.
Yeah, I remember that. I was there that night.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, I met him at a Kiss convention.
That's so cool.
And this was after. This is probably like 2002. So I think it was even like after he had, left and WCW was done or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I thought you had said that you were there or something. I'm sure a lot of people were there. I think David Steele was there and, all that stuff.
I'll never forget that night because I did the same thing you did, but instead of Sting, I made a big poster board of Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, really?
And said I came here to see the Chosen One, and it had a bunch of clippings from the WCW magazine I had.
Hell yeah, that's where I got my poster from.
Nice. I had put them all over it, and he had gotten up on the turnbuckle and pointed at me, and the guy with the camera zoomed over, and I was blocked by the time he got over there. I was so pissed. Yeah,
man. That's cool though, man.
But Jeff Jarrett seen my sign, and I was like the most stoked I'd ever been in my life.
That's awesome.
Go ahead, sorry. I said until I spoke to DDP.
Oh, you've met DDP?
Not in person, but he called me.
Oh shit, man, that's great.
I've talked to him and Stevie Richards.
Nice.
That's cool. Like,
yeah. I'm sure DDP is cool as hell, right?
Oh yeah. Like he called me about my weight loss that I had, and
that's awesome.
We talked about that for like 2 minutes, and then it was just like nonstop, like how are things going, talking about life, that type of thing. And then it's give me your email, I'm gonna send you some stuff, and like it was on from there. Like it was really cool.
That's so awesome, man. I always liked DDP back in the day too. And like during COVID, I was doing some DDP yoga there for a while. So yeah, it's and actually it was because of you, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remembered you talking about it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and
it's good stuff, man. I love it.
It is. It's brutal, and I actually like just now like canceled my subscription because I wasn't using it, and it was like $22 a month or something. But yeah,
I like it a lot.
So, do you remember? I personally don't remember this, but my dad talked about it. Apparently, people were throwing quarters onto the mat at Thunder, and Sting like got on the mic and got really shitty with everybody about it.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, so I was talking to my dad about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll never forget that. Like people were throwing like rolls of quarters like onto the stage, or the ring, and like Sting like got on everybody's ass about it and was like, there are kids here, like people can get hurt and all this stuff." And I like vaguely remember it as he, was recounting it, but
Huh.
it would have been like, at the very end of the night, I'm sure.
That's insane.
Yeah, people ain't throwing quarters out now. That's $10 for a roll. Like,
Right? That's like 2 gallons of gas.
yeah, maybe. Fuck, man.
I went to that one in 2000, and then they had one in 1998. I went to in Terre Haute.
Nice. Yeah, I knew that there was one in '98, but I just went to the one.
My dad surprised me with tickets.
Nice.
It was really cool. What was funny was the next day we all showed up to school. There's probably about 15 of us wearing the exact same Sting shirt.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that in your podcast.
And I just found not too long ago. I just found my NWO Wolfpack shirt.
Oh, killer!
Right?
I just bought a couple of those. I don't know, last year, the year before. I went on like a real tear with watching all that WCW stuff. And anytime I get on a kick of something, I feel like I have to have a shirt for some reason. So
I'm the same way.
it's so bad, dude. Like I have so many shirts. Like I need to start. I'll have to sell them in the store or something because I'll just wear them once and forget about them.
Luckily for my bank account, I can't fit a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
But once I get this bariatric surgery, it's gonna change. So I need to get some money saved up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. I really hope all that, goes well for you and you get
I
it
appreciate it.
taken care of. So
I should know in November when I can get it scheduled.
cool. Yeah, you said didn't you say you have to lose a certain amount of weight to be able to do it or something? Like
I
got to be
just
on a diet.
Yeah, I got to go through weight management for 6 months for my insurance, and then after that, I can get it scheduled, and then I got to do I forget the kind of diet they said it is, but it's a crazy diet that you got to do for like 2 weeks. And what it does is it like decreases the size of your liver, so it makes it easier for the surgeon, and just got to do that, and then I'll be able to get it done.
Well, cool, man. Yeah, that'll be great.
Right. So hopefully around Christmas I'll be a lot better.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people are, very supportive and pulling for you in all of that.
Mm-hmm. The amount of support's insane. Like I couldn't be more thankful for it.
Yeah. I really liked your last podcast where you're talking about, how Brazil, is actually really good about that. Um, there's just so much stuff happening all the time with it seems like everybody, whether it's Bobby Day or Brandy Burris or, anybody. It's just there's all kinds of shit going on all the time. But like it seems like everybody, pulls together and does whatever they can to help people and support people and
Yeah.
even good things. Like I really appreciate your support for the store. And there's a lot of people around here, Terre Haute in Brazil, that have shown me a lot of support, with that stuff. And it's a good community. And I also agree on the Jason Aldean song. Yeah. He is just saying what we've all been saying for the past 20 plus years.
Right. Like I was on TikTok and I seen somebody just downplay that song, and they made it all about race, and it pissed me off so bad. I was like, I have to say something.
Yeah.
Normally with stuff like that, I don't. I stay out of it, and I don't really say anything because everybody's got an opinion. But I just had to, because like for some reason I felt offended by that, because I felt like instead of embracing small towns, they're just saying like, oh no, every small town's racist and everybody's just terrible people and all this stuff. And I don't know, like growing up, I couldn't wait to get out of this town. I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't wait to get
Oh,
out of here.
dude, I was the same way. Absolutely.
And I moved to Greenwood with my wife and couldn't wait to come back.
Right? Yeah, I mean, it's funny because when I lived in Louisville, I wanted to come back, literally every day, for like the first, almost year. Um, and there's just something about it, I mean, it'll always be home.
Yeah.
And, my parents just sold, my childhood house not too long ago. And it's just fucking brutal, man. Like,
Yeah. Like I don't know. It's just something that I didn't really know was that deep embedded in me until I left it. And like Greenwood's not that big of a town, but compared to Brazil, like it's crazy big.
yeah. And, I mean, you could still, I mean, it's so close to Indy. It's
Yeah.
just outskirts of Indy. Like it's still a much bigger, town, and it has that bigger city feel to it. It's just there's a lot of culture shock when you get to Brazil and Terre Haute.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even some parts of Terre Haute, there's some culture shock for us Brazil people.
Definitely.
But yeah, people just want to, they want to make stuff out of nothing, and I'm sure that if it wasn't Jason Aldean who did that song, it would probably be a little different. I feel like he's been under a lot of heat, him and his wife, for a while. And I
Mm-hmm.
think they just wanted to pull whatever. I bet you if Morgan Wallen did that song, no one would say a damn thing.
Probably not. Or Luke
Because,
Combs.
yeah, like hell, they tried to cancel Morgan Wallen and couldn't do it. And now, he's like the biggest country star out there currently. So,
Oh yeah, he's huge.
yeah, which I think is hilarious. I'm glad that, cancel culture screwed that one up.
I don't understand this cancel culture. I really don't.
Dude, I don't either. Everybody is entitled to their opinion, and I don't, I don't approve of the whole "you're either with me or against me" thing. Like, you can have your opinion, and I can have my opinion, and as long as we're not hurting each other, it's cool. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just go about your life. You like the White Sox and I like the Reds. It's cool.
You
If you're a
like Brett
Cubs fan,
Favre?
it'd be
I can't.
different.
You
Yeah,
like Brett
exactly.
Favre? I can't stand him.
Right.
But yeah, like when like that's why I feel like we were the last good generation.
Dude, growing up in the '90s, I and really our age, we literally have lived through almost everything. I mean, not like a crazy war or anything like that. I mean, we've had that, but it's not like we didn't live through World War II or anything. But like we've seen so much change, just from like the way we consume media and the news and like the way life is. Like the '90s really were like the last good generation, like or decade, whatever you want to say. Like
Yeah.
the internet has really screwed a lot of stuff up. Like I love the internet, but I feel like we'd probably be better without it.
I feel like so as well. Like it I feel like all it did and done in my opinion is just make society stupid.
Yeah, so my old bass player, he always used to say the internet is great because it gives everybody a voice. The internet is also terrible because it gives everybody a voice.
He's 100% right on that.
You know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know, but
I feel like if people just took the values of that time and put it in today's society, like life would be so much better for a lot of people.
Oh, for sure. I mean, dude, there's still stuff like and I'm not a saint or anything. Like I cuss all the time, and I've made tons of mistakes and everything. But like, there's still stuff like I'll see on TV, and I'll be like, how in the world is this on like regular primetime TV? You know what I mean? Like, it's just they do so much stuff now, and I know I sound like 100 years old, but it's crazy to me, man. Like, I don't know, like
I
shit
agree.
that you would never see in the '90s, or even the early 2000s, but
Like,
everything is acceptable now. So,
and that's a problem. It shouldn't be.
yeah, I mean, you should be able to say, "Hey, that's wrong." Like, we're not going to do that, or I don't support that. You know, but
Like, I, there's just too much morals and values taken out of everyday life because, like, you have to, according to the way of the world, you have to agree with this person, and then if this person doesn't agree, well, you still have to agree with them. The problem is you've got one person and they have to agree with 27 different views, and you can't tell anyone that they're wrong, or you can't say that your opinion is different, because then you're looked on as the bad person.
right.
Or and I don't understand. I feel like society just needs to just stop with all the cancel culture and the getting so emotional about things. Like, there's stuff in life that you don't have to be emotional about. They can just be what they are.
Yeah, and man, I I used to post a lot of political stuff, and I don't do that anymore because it just gets you in trouble. But um, I don't even pay attention to it anymore, man. Like, after this last election, I was watching the news all the time and listening to news, and I was like, man, this stuff it was making me crazy. So like, I just had to turn it all off, and I'm so much better for doing so. Like,
Yeah.
if you just like go out and talk to people, like the majority of the country is not like what Fox and CNN say we are. So, I'm very libertarian. Like, you do you, I'm going to do me, and it'll all be fine. Like, don't impose your stuff on me. I'm not going to impose my stuff on you. We can all live and be happy and disagree, and, have a civil conversation about why we disagree. I think that's part of the problem is no one ever wants to have a conversation. They just want to say, "Oh, you don't agree with me? Well, you're wrong and you're a racist." So,
Yeah, exactly. That's a quick thing to do now.
oh, dude, I mean, if you don't agree with anything at all, it doesn't even matter what it is. Like, if you were like, "Oh, I don't agree that they should have forgiven any student loan debt." Well, you're a racist. How is that? Like, I don't think white people should have their shit forgiven either. Like,
I don't know where we're headed as far as society and our values and what is in store for our children whenever they get that age.
yeah, dude,
Um,
it's scary,
it
and
really
that's
is.
that's part of the reason why I still don't have any kids.
Like, and that's the thing too. A lot of people our age and our generation that don't have kids and haven't yet aren't going to, because of where we're headed and what's going on and
Yeah,
the
man.
fact.
I mean, it's scary. It's expensive. Like, you know, it's hard enough to live. Let alone bringing someone else into it. But
Right.
not that I'm against people doing that. It's a scary thought for me.
And it should be, because it's not just like, going out and buying a new T-shirt.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't think there are definitely a lot of people out there that don't think about it
No.
and they just kind of do it. And then, I don't know. That's a whole political thing.
Yeah. My wife's wanting to have a family, and every time she says that, I always think like,
Yeah.
money, money.
Yeah, man. I mean, I filled up my truck today. It was 55.55 for 3/4 of a tank, you
Damn.
know. Yeah. And I mean, it's just a gas truck, it's not like a diesel or something. So, like went to the store the other day and, got a few groceries, $200. Like
Yeah.
back in the day, $200 was like a cart full of food,
Hmm.
Like I used to work at Kroger in high school. Like I used to see it all the time. First of the month, people would come in, like load up their carts. They'd have like $200 or $300, and they'd have like two carts full of stuff. Now
Oh
it's
yeah.
like you don't even you don't even have half a cart like with a couple bags in it.
Minimum $100.
Oh, absolutely. You cannot go buy groceries unless you're literally just buying one thing, without spending $100, which is just crazy. I mean, you know how much like $100 was when we were kids.
Oh my god.
It's an astronomical amount.
My parents used to be able to buy food for the whole week and spend like $80.
Yeah. Yep.
Like it's insane.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you go almost anywhere fast food. There's no way you're getting out of there for less than $10 unless you get like a Taco Bell box or something.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like you go to McDonald's, you get chicken nuggets and fries. It's over $10 every time.
It's insane.
It is.
A damn pound of beef costs like $5.
Yeah.
I remember when that shit was like $3.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I was always a big Coca-Cola drinker.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, a 24 pack of Coke now is like 12, $13.
Yeah.
Like I remember when a 24 pack of pop was like $3 or less.
Yeah.
And now a 12 pack is like $5 or $6. So
depending on where you go, some places is like 7.
yeah, which is just, dude, it's nuts.
Yeah. Everything goes up except wage.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I feel like every time I talk to my dad about money, he says that.
Like it's crazy, and they expect people to just it's okay, like they'll be all right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of have us because, like, you got to eat, you got to drive to work to make money to pay your house payment, to pay your bills, and it's just, I don't know, man. I'm not a socialist by any means, but it shouldn't be like that. Like,
No, it really shouldn't. You know what's crazy? I always said we wouldn't talk politics on the show. Now we have.
yeah, and I'm trying to be very, down the middle about it too, because I don't want to go off on a rant. But
Yeah.
but it just anybody on either side, can agree that shit is bad currently.
Yeah. Especially the prices, because that affects everybody, no matter where you vote or who you align with.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just a couple years ago, gas was under $2. So,
Yeah.
uh,
And I don't remember inflation being that bad either.
no, it was not. But policy drives all that stuff.
Right.
So, we'll see how things go next year.
Won't go into who wrote that policy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That seems to be a big trigger for people.
Oh, dude, it is. And and like I said, man, I used to listen to a lot of news, and I used to just be like just head deep in it, but I've just kind of gotten away from it. I do my part and I vote, even though I'm not really sure that it matters. And I hate saying that because I was always like, no, it matters. And then, you know,
I have said my entire life voting does not matter. If you're voting for local and state, it matters. If you're voting for president, it doesn't matter because it's already predetermined.
yeah, dude, I honestly have no doubts about that now, especially, currently. Um, but it sucks, dude. That's not how our founding fathers envisioned this country. Like,
Not at all.
there needs to be term limits for Congress, and like these people should not be getting rich. And I think a lot of people don't understand that the government does not make any money. And this is Republican or Democrat or whatever. They don't make any money. We are the ones making money, and they take our money and spend it on dumb shit that we have no idea what they're spending it on.
Right?
There's a website out there you can look. I can't remember what it is, but like you can look and see how much money we send all these other countries and do all this stuff with. And like, dude, they didn't call me and ask me if I wanted to send money to Guatemala. And it's my fucking money. So like, it's just people don't understand. They're like, oh, we need to do that. And it's like, yeah, but if they were literally taking it out of your pocket, would you say that?
See, I think what we all need to do as a society figure out how much they've taken from each of us and file a class action lawsuit against the government.
Dude, I mean, there's grounds for it. Absolutely.
Like
You know,
that's no different than someone coming into your yard and be like, "All right, I'm taking this. This is now mine."
yeah, dude, it's the same thing. Like, I mean, it would be like, a politician just literally coming up to you at a grocery store, taking the wallet out of your pocket and pulling $50 out of it.
Could you imagine what would happen nowadays? You did that to somebody.
Oh yeah, yeah,
If
yeah,
you don't have a gun, you turn to the guy behind you, be like, "Hey, can I borrow your pistol?"
yeah, absolutely. Well, especially around here, thankfully, you know,
Right. I I don't know, man. Like it's crazy.
it
Like
is, it
like,
is for sure.
but
But hey, so did you ever get into Power Rangers? I'll just totally change the subject.
oh yeah, when I was a kid, hell yeah.
Did you watch the new Once and Always? Oh, you don't have Netflix, do you?
No, I don't.
Ah, bummer. Uh, well, if you get it, you
Hmm.
should watch. You should watch the Once and Always thing. Like,
I've heard it's awesome.
dude, it's great. I watched it like I think I watched it 3 times the day it came out.
Nice.
It's so good. And I've been reading the Boom Studios Power Ranger comics. I'm almost caught up. I just got 2 of them the other day. The 2
I
latest ones or whatever.
I used to have back when there was a comic store in Terre Haute. I used to have them. That was on my regular pull every week, every month.
Oh, nice, dude! I almost bought that. Well, I didn't almost buy it, but I looked at that building.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but decided to not get it. But
that's
um,
probably a good idea.
yeah, yeah. So my pull list, we'll talk about that. I got Power Rangers. I've got Amazing Spider-Man. Really, usually anything to do with Spider-Man is pulled for me.
Hmm.
I've got the new Daredevil series, which is really good. And I've got, what else do I have? That might be it now.
Where are you having these pulled at?
So I've got a comic book store in Louisville that I go to since I'm down there, at least I'm down there at least once a month. So I go to Zone Comic Shop in Louisville. The guy Dan that runs it is great, and he always hooks me up. So, but yeah, there's really not, Books A Million there for a while was carrying new comics, and now they don't.
Yeah.
So I don't really know of a place in Terre Haute to get them.
Um, as far as new ones, I don't really think there is. I know Greenwood's got a few.
Yeah, there's some good ones. There's so when I go to Indy to go to record stores, there's like 3 different Karma Records in Indy. There's one on the west side, there's one on the north side, and there's one on the east side. And there's a really good comic book store over by the north Karma. I can't remember what it's called though. Hero Comics or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another one in Avon too, like, but it's really close to like